Peace, world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment. My name is Wood. Let's jump right into it. A 193 game one loss for the number one seed in the NBA. I think they're number one overall. Definitely number one in the East. And incidentally, Milwaukee had some problems out of the gate and dropped their first game against Orlando. So plenty of situate panic, situations out here if you want to get into it. But let's look into a couple of thoughts on this situation with the Trailblazers and the Lakers. I got like 10 points. I'm not gonna go in depth on all of them, but LeBron is a layup and dunker guy at this point. No mid range game, no post game whatsoever, and he's an in the moment 3-point shooter in my opinion. On the defensive end of the court, I really don't think this is the same LeBron that can go and give a lot of minutes on to highly skilled elite backcourt guys. So I don't see him moving over to Dame and McCollum a whole lot because that's not gonna work. Another thing, while he did get the triple double, was the first to get a triple double of that kind, 15 rebounds, 16 assists or whatever. He's not a big offensive rebounder. He had 15 defensive boards last night and only 2 offensive rebounds. And again, that's because he's a layup and dunker guy. So that's really the only time that he's in the paint. And then when he shoots those shots, he's either going to the floor or, running down into the baseline and not being back in position to, because he gets that head full of steam and runs downhill to get to the rim. So he's not there often to get the offensive board. Also, this is a shot taking and shot making league. Portland is just better at today's type of scoring with this backcourt. The step back game, getting your own shot off the bounce. D Lillard and the logo Dame or whatever. This dude shooting 40% from 30 feet and beyond or whatever it is. That's a problem. And they will adjust. The Lakers will adjust and begin to pick him up sooner and double team him and whatnot. But that compromise, and that's the thing why it was crazy for this game, because with him having a quiet 23 first half points, the way that he did it, it just kind of snuck up on them that he was having that type of game. He finished with 34. 34. So another one, Anthony Davis had a bad night in terms of efficiency. 8 of 24 to get his 28 points. He was a negative 20 in his time on the court. He'll just have to do better, and I will imagine he'll be consistent throughout this series. Danny Green went 2 of 8 from 3. In my opinion, he's never been the same shooter that he was in that first postseason run that he had with the Spurs. I've just never seen him that lethal ever since. I could be wrong there, but I think he set a record that year. I thought he was close to setting a record with his performance with the Spurs. I've just never seen him that lethal again. Can be a very important player on a team though, and had the chip up there in Toronto, I believe, but just never seen him as that deadly shooter again. McGee and Howard are not great around the rim. They just don't have that kind of touch. Howard makes a lot of mistakes, misses dunks, misses layups. He's just not a solid guy down there, and he hasn't been. And McGee, it's always an experience with him too, just to get a bucket. Howard Howard finished with 4 points, and then McGee finishes with 6. Home court advantage. We're not getting they're not getting 4 games at Staples. That's just not going to happen. We knew this already. And this takes away the whole thing with the calls, the refereeing. That's a big part of a veteran, having a veteran team. They rely on those calls. They're used to getting those calls. That may not happen here. But there's also the role players, how they impact games at home versus on the road. They're not gonna have that. So the Caruso and Caldwell Pope of the world, these guys aren't gonna get that big boost from being in LA. The Portland start, and the fact that Portland's been in playoff mode for multiple games now, but the Portland start probably kept Frank Vogel from going to, more into his bench and, mixing in Cook and Waiters more so than KCP and Caruso, who had horrible shooting nights. They were 1 of 15 combined, I believe. Yeah, Caruso hit one shot. So that's that. And the Lakers wings, they just aren't proven postseason shooters and scorers. They just aren't. Another point, Nurkic is just such a plus. He can score at all three levels. He's aggressive to the rim. He's got a good body on him, can knock down free throws. And if Whiteside can be focused and stay consistent and be emotionally, energy-wise, if he can be consistent, it's just a bad matchup for the Lakers. Another point, Melo can still make plays. He can still score. Didn't have the greatest game last night. Had 11 on 3 of 11, 2 of 5 from three-point. But Melo is damn near better than, he's better than any third option that the Lakers have. And then also, last point was CJ's start to the third half. To the third quarter, to come out and go to him in ISO for like 2, 3, or 4 possessions and get the shot, knock down the shots that he did, and to just pressure put some pressure on the Lakers defense. Like, oh goodness, here's another problem that we got to worry about, is this guy over here. I think that's just indicative of the difference between the skill level and just the makeup of these teams. I've never been a fan of LeBron basketball. And some of these guys, a KCP and a Caruso, they may not be great catch and shoot guys. And for a lot of times in offenses around LeBron, you're catching the ball late in the shot clock or, at the end of LeBron driving, and you only have the ability to, you only have the option to shoot. That's not good when you're not a great shooter and when it's not going well for you. You need to do other things. So that's about it, man. I think the series is going to be competitive. I saw Charles Barkley has if Portland won the first game, they would sweep the series. I don't think there's going to be a sweep, but there could be. But this is just not a great matchup for the Lakers. And like I said, I'll just finish with, it is an advantage to Portland that they were already in playoff mode coming into this thing, and the Lakers weren't playing that great. And then while that's happening, they're still doing some load management and just kind of resting, since they had the number 1 seed locked up. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know where you were with the game. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.